BoldonJames Classifier includes everything you need to get started with classification at your organization, including classifier for email, Office, and files. Your system administrator will be empowered with everything they need to set classification policies and rules, as well as classifying current and historic files. Classifier fits alongside your user's workflow to ensure classification is simple and intuitive. Classification sits in the Office ribbon, appearing truly native to the application. When a user creates a document, it is simple to apply classification in one click, following the fully customizable tips to understand the correct classification to choose. Here we will choose Business, and a visual marking is applied to the footer of the document. In this scheme, if Internal is chosen, a marking appears in the header in a more prominent place, with a detailed circulation warning in the footer. If the user tries to save with no classification, Classifier prompts the user to make a selection from the dialog box. Another customizable option in Classifier is to ask for a justification if a user downgrades a classification. This helps to track legitimate reasons, such as when a press release is authorized to be externally circulated. It can also highlight undesirable behavior, or if the classification policy needs adjustment for certain circumstances. As well as manual application of classification, Classifier can automate classification based on your individual rules. This document is a sales invoice and contains financial data including credit card information. When the file is saved, Classifier detects this information and automatically classifies it confidential, as well as marking that PCI data is present. This automatic classification can guard users and organizations against accidental dissemination of confidential data and help simplify meeting data protection legislation such as GDPR. Even if the user tries to change the classification manually, the classifier rule again forces the correct label and is persistent to the file, protecting it wherever it resides in your organization. As well as being visually applied to the file, the classifier label is embedded in its metadata, informing other classifier dissemination rules and driving third-party security applications such as rights management and DLP more accurately. When sending an email, Classifier is able to classify automatically based on recipient. An email which contains recipients from the internal domain can be classified as business. Email autocomplete is a useful tool for choosing email recipients more quickly, but it's a common problem for users to accidentally select the incorrect recipient from the list. In this example, we can see that the email has been classified as confidential and containing PII, but the user has accidentally selected a user from outside of the company. When the user tries to send, Classifier halts the message and warns the user that the recipient is not authorized to receive this classification of data, saving the user and the company from an embarrassing and potentially costly data breach. The user can go back and select the correct recipient. Classifier also detects the classification of an attachment and ensures that the email classification matches, so that an internal file can't be emailed out as public. If an attachment is not classified, Classifier prompts the user that this must be rectified before the file can be sent. As well as in the document itself, users can classify files directly on the desktop with File Classifier. This can be helpful for files such as PDFs or JPEGs which don't have a classifier option in the ribbon. As with classification in an application, files can be protected against unauthorized downgrade. In addition to manual and automated classification, classifier rules can be created to suggest classification. This Excel file is an employee's timesheet and so contains the personally identifiable data, or PII, of the employee's name, employee number, and national insurance number. Although the user has selected confidential, Classifier detects the PII and suggests that this label is also applied. This helps guide the user to make a stronger classification decision, protecting the information and educating the user about the value of the data.